Good morning from the New Forest at the start of what will hopefully be another sunny day at the end of June. Yes, the end of June already. Unbelievable. That means then that this must be the May June update of the video diary, showing some of the things that have been going on in the forest over the past couple of months. So let's go and see what happened. May the 1st started with a bang. Lots of bangs. It was the loudest thunderstorm that I can remember in this country. It certainly woke me up. After a couple of days, the weather settled down and we had a lovely warm sunny week. Spring had properly arrived. This seal made the most of the sun down on the Bewley River. Time for a drink. Of course, the warm weather made the roads busier. Sadly, the warm sunny weather didn't last, and the rest of May was cool, with showers most days. This time of year is all about new life. Sarah Smith captured these lovely shots of birds feeding their young. Annette Gregory filmed this young foal taking its first steps, still wet from being born. This foal must have followed its mother into a boggy area. We can see mud on its legs, nearly up to its belly. I'm surprised it managed to get itself out again. And it's just all too much for this foal, asleep in the bracken. On the night of the 10th of May, we had a very unusual event. The Northern Lights were visible, right down to southern England, including the New Forest. These images were taken by Matt Charrett-Kopusto in the New Forest at 11:30 in the evening. Thanks to Matt for sharing them with those of us who missed the spectacle. My friend Caroline saw an unusual sight down at Blashford Lakes. A sea eagle flew in and was mobbed by the gulls and terns that are nesting there. The sea eagle was part of a reintroduction programme based at the Isle of Wight, and it wasn't very popular with the residents at Blashford Lakes. On the 7th of May, 20 stallions were released in designated areas of the forest. Among these was Sally Jolly's family's stallion, Navzash Polaris. Sally explained how the stallions are selected.
They are all selected through the New Forest Verderers and the New Forest Pony Breeding Society. Owners put their colts, their young males, up from about a year old for selection. They're then kept until they're 2 years old, and they are put again in front of a committee, usually held at the Bewley Road Pony Sales ground, and they'll go before 4 judges, and they will be assessed on their bloodlines, their conformation and their temperament, and then going forward the owners will get a result, and if they are selected they will then be kept with it in mind to run out on the forest in the future.
Here's Polaris, causing a bit of a stir among the mares as he joins them on the forest at Longdown. In June, I arranged to meet Sally at Longdown to see how Polaris was doing. No sign of any ponies here. We didn't have far to walk though before we found a large group of ponies. Polaris was amongst them and recognised Sally. As we kept a safe distance from Polaris, Sally told me how he'd been doing while he's been out on the forest.
When we first turned him out, we came back a couple of days later to check that all was well, and we found him with over 75 mares. All of them were pretty happy to see him, so I think he's been an incredibly busy boy this season. We'd expect at least half of them to be in foal. Mares come into season every 3 weeks for approximately 5 days. The stallions are only running out for 6 weeks, so that can mean that if that mare doesn't take in season, by the time that she comes back and is receptive again, that she won't get foal, and that is one way that the society is managing the number of foals we have born every year.
Polaris has settled in well then with his new harem. I asked Sally if she worried about him while he was out in the open forest.
Yeah, we as commoners and owners, we worry greatly about the ponies running out. Of course, New Forest, there's many roads that cut through. Not everybody's a careful driver. So yeah, every day we worry, but we feel, he's out here, he's doing the job. And as you can see in the background, a very important job keeping the bloodlines and New Forest in the way it is. But yeah, we as owners, we dread the phone call we get to say that there's been an accident.
As we can see, Polaris is having an active 6 weeks out on the forest with his mares. I wondered where the stallions go for the rest of the year, when they aren't working on the forest.
So when those stallions aren't running out on the forest, doing a job, they all live together in some grazing, provided by the verderers. It's now moving up to Mottersfont, and Polaris and his chums will run with about 30 other stallions all together. There's very little fighting because there are no mares present there, and they will overwinter all together until next spring.
While we were out with Polaris, something spooked the ponies. The herd instinct kicked in and they all hurried to gather as a group, possibly as protection against an unknown threat. There's safety in numbers. There's a hierarchy in the herd, and each herd will have an alpha pony. Interestingly, this is not the stallion, so Polaris will have to know his place and fit in with the other members of the herd. Thanks to Sally for giving us some more understanding of the life of a pony-owning commoning family in the New Forest. The first half of June was disappointingly cold for the time of year, though we did have some nice sunny days as well as showers. Foxgloves flowered throughout the forest, and the bracken grew and grew and grew. June the 6th was the 80th anniversary of D-Day, when over 150,000 Allied troops landed on the Normandy beaches and behind enemy lines to begin the liberation of France and the rest of occupied Europe. This was the start of Operation Overlord and was the largest seaborne invasion in history. The New Forest played a big part in World War II and in the lead up to D-Day. We can still see evidence of some of this activity today, and I've made several separate videos on this. If you're interested in seeing those, there should be a link at the top of the screen and in the text below. To commemorate the 80th anniversary, celebrations were held across the New Forest and the rest of the country. Over 1,500 beacons were lit across the country to mark the occasion and to remember all those who took part in World War II. Towards the end of June we had a heat wave for a few days, before the temperature settled down to more normal levels. The month ended much warmer than it started. Next video diary will be uploaded at the end of August, so come back then to see what happens during the summer. Please subscribe to see more videos about living in the New Forest, and thanks very much for watching.